Meeting to order. This is Town of Woodbridge Board of Commissioners, special meeting, Monday, October 3rd, 2022. Now, are there any, do we have anybody of the public online to speak, or
No, there's no public comments tonight, Andy.
no public comments today? Okay, so,
And we'll need to do a roll call too, if you don't
and
mind.
we need to do a roll call. Okay. We'll do roll call. I'll start with me, Andy Esposito. I'm here.
Mika Cardozo here. And Capel here.
Okay, that's who we have for now.
Yep, thank you.
So we have a quorum.
Okay. We have a quorum. All right, so on the agenda this evening is body camera, in-car video camera system replacements. So Frank, I'm going to throw the ball to you.
Okay, thank you. And thanks everybody for having a special meeting this evening. So the replacement and the upgrading of our current body worn and dashboard camera systems to a newer, more technology advanced system is something we've been planning for several months now. You might recall, and for those of you that were on the board then, well, I think Andy, it was probably just you at the time, but back at our May Board of Police Commissioners meeting, I submitted a formal request for consideration to the Finance Director that a portion of the American Rescue Act, the ARPA funding awarded to the town, might possibly be used for the project. Since then, and following further discussion with the Finance Director, and as a backup option to that, it was suggested that this project will also be proposed as a 5-year project in our upcoming fiscal year 24 budget preparation. Initially, the replacement was to address concerns expressed to us by court prosecutors as to the dismal quality of the imagery being provided by our older camera systems versus that of what they're receiving now from many of the other towns, many of which prior to the accountability bill mandate had no cameras at all, but now they have the new cameras with the new technology. The court had also expressed concerns of our inability to submit camera footage directly to them by the preferred method, and possibly become the protocol soon of downloading and transmitting the data directly to them via digital access through a portal. We're one of the last remaining departments of the 13 towns encompassing the geographical district of New Haven Superior Court that is not utilizing Axon brand body worn and dashboard camera systems, and we're one of the few remaining ones that still submits the footage the old-fashioned way by burning it onto a disk. More importantly, and pretty much what brought this to the forefront most recently, during the past few months, we've experienced unexpected back-to-back major failure issues of 2 of our patrol camera dashboard cameras that have been rendered them totally inoperable and forced us to take both of those cars out of service. Up until recent, any malfunctions of our body-worn cameras or the dashboard cameras were able to be repaired, either on site by us with replacement parts or by returning them to the factory for factory repair. Now our current vendor, Digital Ally, has notified us that all the dashboard camera units have reached their end of life and the necessary parts to repair them are no longer available. So when they fail, the only solution is replacement. The current price to replace just one of the Digital Ally cameras has risen. So now alone, it's to a flat one-time amount of just under $5,000 per camera. It was $5,000 per camera. It's risen to a price of $10,900 per camera, payable in increments of just over $2,000 a year. That doesn't include the replacement of any of our other cameras should they fail. And it also presents a new additional problem for us. Any new Digital Ally dashboard camera has upgraded technology, so it won't be able to synchronize with our current body-worn cameras, so the officers won't be uniform and they'd be restricted to having to use certain vehicles. And that's not something that would work. It's not really possible for us with the fleet that we have. Pursuant to the Police Accountability Bill, any activation of the dashboard cameras must automatically trigger the activation of the body-worn camera. So the incident is recorded and captured from all perspectives. So if the two don't sync up, we wouldn't be able to comply with that. We were on the forefront as one of the first police departments to implement the use of both the dashboard and the body-worn cameras, beginning back in 2010, well before it became mandatory pursuant to the recent Police Accountability Bill. Currently, 5 of our 10 dashboard cameras have been in service since their original 2010 date of purchase. So as a result, a good portion of this 10 to 12-year-old equipment is still in place, and it calls for upgrading due to the advances in modern technology. So I mentioned Axon, which is used primarily throughout our court system here, all those towns. Axon offers a complete 5-year plan of a new fully installed dashboard, camera-worn integrated system. The price for that is just over $45,000 per year for 10 dashboard cameras and 25 body-worn cameras. Of most importance, they'll provide a complete upgrade and replacement, all with the most recent technological upgrades of all our body-worn cameras, initially on day 1, again at year 2.5, and at year 5, and for the dashboard cameras, initially on day 1, if we would go with them, and again at year 5. Their pricing also includes adequate cloud-based storage, the required redaction software, and the evidence.com access portal accessibility and licensing to be used by court for the seamless transfer of case file footage that I mentioned previously. As far as Axon goes, our department's already forged a good long-term relationship with them. We've been using them for several years now for all of our TASER equipment and associated software needs. So currently, the one patrol vehicle that we purchased last fiscal year, after an 11-month wait due to supply chain delays, it's finally arrived and it's in the shop, scheduled to be upfitted with all the emergency equipment, including the camera system, which customarily, and in the past, it's always transferred over from the older vehicles being replaced. The problem is, today we have no current working camera to put in it. This is to be followed shortly thereafter by the outfitting of a second new patrol vehicle for this fiscal year, which is on site and also scheduled to be outfitted, which will also need a new camera. So although this is several months earlier than we were planning, the recent unexpected dashboard cameras are something that we need to address right away, not only to keep our patrol fleet in service, but for officer safety, public transparency, for the court system, and to stay in compliance with the Police Accountability Bill mandates. We've reached a point where it's critical for us to switch over to a company that has some proven technological and performance track records of high quality imaging, reliability with the courts, and as I said before, is used by many of the surrounding agencies, and that was Axon. I discussed the urgency with Chairman Burke and the Finance Director over the past several weeks, and I presented the same information that I presented to you tonight to the Board of Selectmen at their meeting on September 14th. The Board of Selectmen recognized the urgency of the camera system replacements, and at that time they authorized the Finance Director, who has been in contact with Axon, to discuss and look further into contract and payment options, and then to draft any necessary paperwork to for their review and moving forward, possibly moving forward and to present to their review at their next meeting, which is scheduled for I believe it's October 12th coming up. Last week, the Finance Director, myself, and Detective Iannucci from our department, who's our IT administrator, met again with Axon representatives to finalize the specifications tailored for our agency. So tonight, I just want to share that information with you, stress the urgency of it, the necessity of it, and looking to the board for their support of the proposed change of our body worn and dashboard recording systems, which in addition to being a huge jump in technology for us, would also serve to ensure our day-to-day operations and would enhance our professionalism and high standards of the department. So if you'd like, I can answer any questions you have. Detective Iannucci is also here. If there's any IT issues, he could, as far as, and the deputy chief as well. So,
Frank, what is the warranty on this equipment? Now, this is a 5-year program, right?
yes,
What is the warranty on this equipment?
it's fully warranted throughout the 5 years.
It's fully warranted throughout the 5 years.
Yep, with replacement of anything that fails. And they're actually refreshed. As I said, the body cameras are new at day one. Refresh all new with upgraded technology again at 2.5 years, and then again all new equipment at 5 years for the body cam. So there's 3 times you'd be getting new body cameras. And as far as the dashboard cameras, you get them initially, and then at the 5th year.
At the 5th year also.
Yep. So at the end of the 5 years, you'd have all new
Equipment.
leave or continue with start the same process again, but with all new equipment.
And Chief, I understood you to say that it's approximately $45,000 per year for this, the package, for the entire package?
Yes, it came to, I believe it was 45,219 or thereabouts.
And is that paid monthly?
No, I believe it's paid annually.
Annually? Okay.
And there was a bunch of different payment options that the finance director was working through with the act.
And in terms of the new legislation that just recently came, that you referred to, can you just give us a little bit of rundown in terms of what we need versus what might be optional?
Yeah, they really don't leave you too much room for option. Any police officer is bound to have body worn camera equipment functioning when they deal with the public. And the same with the all patrol cars, not administrative or detective cars, but all patrol vehicles are required to have dashboard cameras. And the new addition that a lot of places didn't have before is that, as I mentioned, the dashboard cameras have to be in sync with the body worn cameras to give to the different perspectives. So there's, whether they turn the dashboard camera on, or there's all other features that it goes on automatically, like when the emergency lighting's put on at a certain speed. There's different criteria where they go on, but everything syncs up together. And then there's also requirements for release of the footage and all new redaction software that have to be available, so you could redact things in people that shouldn't be visible to the public. Things such as that.
So this brings us into compliance for all intent purposes, where we may be marginally compliant right now.
Yes, and we would be out of compliance if we weren't able to
Do something.
Cars in service.
Got it.
We can't really put them in service without cameras.
Were there any other options that were reviewed as far as costs are concerned? Not, obviously need to do what we need to do, but
yeah, no, we did, and also when we looked into the current company, Digital Ally, to see what they were in besides problems that everyone, we've had personally here with our agency, but other agencies I think also had, and many of them switched from that company. But the pricing, we found a lot of hidden costs. So this price was competitive, and it's also under, I think it was Sourcewell, a national contract pricing. So it's all comparable.
And where is the funding coming from?
So the funding would be a 5-year capital project. Is how Tony and I discussed, but because we're in this predicament, the first year would not be funded. So that's something that the finance director and I would be working together with on the funding to make it work for the initial first year. And then the subsequent, the following 4 years would be part of our budget.
Part of our capital budget.
Yes. Yep.
Chief,
Those are the way,
question.
I'm sorry, they're only, just real quick, that's the way all the plans are tailored now. They no longer just, issue, you can't just buy the components. Now you have to have all these plans where it's stretched out over a certain number of years because of the depth of it all. Sorry, Commissioner Capel.
Yeah, just want to say first, thank you for a compelling and very informative presentation. It's interesting because it sounds like in part because Woodbridge was so far ahead of the curve early on, that's why we're facing this. So it's a result of our own good practices. So respect that very much. Wondering if there's been any talk either with the company in the industry, from assistant state's attorneys or among police departments with which you're in touch, of whether there's expected to be any further requirements legislatively coming on, anticipated in Connecticut, or is it your sense that the requirements you just enumerated are pretty much where it's going to settle for the coming few years? I know you may not know that, but just curious for keeping pace and all that.
Yeah, no, I think right now, I mean, I don't foresee too many more changes because I think there are a lot of agencies, especially those that had no cameras at all to start, or this is a big hurdle for everyone to overcome. And as as you brought forth the having been on the forefront before, and now we're kind of behind the eight ball because there's no funding hasn't been available for agencies that already have cameras in place. So with that said, one thing that we did find is that the court did let us know that they're looking towards making a protocol possibly that will require that the transmittal of the footage in the way that I mentioned through the portal. And a lot of people are already doing it with the newer technology. We weren't able to, but they have not made it a protocol, but they've alluded to the fact that that's their desire and they'd like to make it a protocol going forward.
And just personal experience, the courts are often trying to upgrade their technological facility. And so these expectations are not unfamiliar.
Right.
And I take it the officers, the force is obviously in support of this?
Absolutely. In fact, they, there's always been some frustration because our old cameras, we have a problem with battery life, and they have the cameras we currently have are two parts, so you have to have like the battery pack and the recording in one part of your in the shirt pocket or fixed to your body in one manner, and then there's a cord that goes to the camera where the axons are all self-contained. Everything's in one unit, and they've actually gave us one to try. We've been using it for about a month now. One of the sergeants been using it, and it's really worked well. And all the other chiefs in the area that I've spoken to that are using them, they're happy with it. And I know the court and the prosecutors are very happy with what they've been receiving from those type of cameras.
Thank you. Detective Iannucci, anything that you wanted to add?
Thank you for having me tonight. Not really. I think this improvement in the technology would really do the department good, and it kind of future-proofs our department. And with the updates in technology changes at such a high rate and very, very quickly that this plan will allow us to have a plan in place in case that technology updates and upgrades over time. We will get the newest and the greatest, and then when that 5 years is up, we have a discussion about storage, and we can adjust our storage and what we need to do with our current system, and then also plan again 5 years in the future again. And I think this is gonna really put us on the same playing field as everyone else in the area, and it's an important move for officer safety. And yeah, I think it's a great move if we do end up going with it.
Thank you.
Hey, also, Deputy Chief could probably comment. I think in Hamden they had Axon, right, Ron? So you're very familiar with those too.
Yes, we've had, at the Hamden Police Department, had, Axon for quite some time, with much success. The, Axon camera is just something that's much clearer. The audio is better quality. We also can, utilize the camera by having a magnet which actually sticks to an officer's chest instead of having a wire and something dangling from up here. Having quality video helped us immensely in internal affairs investigations, helped us with court cases in which we had a violent domestic per se, and we were able to just show quality video, which actually helped us in getting a conviction. And also with regards to civil litigation, it only takes one case or one incident for us to have poor quality camera and poor quality audio to really be behind the eight ball. So I think these cameras will more than pay for itself. It would only take one incident. And since I've been here over the past year, we've had a couple incidents and the camera quality has been pretty poor. So I strongly believe in these cameras. I think the officers will like wearing them. And I think for the town, it just gives us great protection moving forward.
Any other questions from anyone that we could?
I just want to make sure, Frank, that my question is, and to you and Matt, that all the software, if there are any software upgrades, they're in the first 5 years, they're all covered. So basically, there should be no additional charges to us for equipment or for software upgrades within the first 5 years. Is that correct?
Right, and that's what this last follow-up meeting we had with the representative, that was exactly my statement, how I started it. I said, look, we need to iron out everything and get and put everything on the table. I don't want to have to come back looking for, we forgot this, or we need this, or we need that. And they assured us, and Tony and Matt and myself, that they should take care of everything.
All right, and the data is being stored on cloud, but they are responsible for backup data,
Yes, so
backing it up. They take our data, they send it to cloud, but they also back it up.
yes, so that, and if for some reason the data was lost, it would be totally on their end, and they would be responsible, and they'd have to
Right.
testify to that in court. Right, that becomes their responsibility, not ours. And as I explained, the way we're doing it now, Matt could probably, Detective Iannucci could probably elaborate a little bit further, but we're using an external hard drive, which isn't the best method of storing data for that.
Yeah, so right now it's the external hard drive. If we were to stick with this, we would have to look for a means, a server or another external hard drive in order to truly back this up. And even then it's going to be a cost anyway. And that is something, the cloud is just kind of something that is, and within this plan, we delegated a certain amount of storage and adjusted it to kind of what we thought would fit our department and based on what we are using right now with our current storage and other mandates that are tied to the police accountability bill. So with all that in mind, this would be a vast improvement to being able to access and store these files, these critical files that you would need to be accessible at the drop of a dime. So.
Okay. I got it. I mean, the cloud is good, but the fact of the matter is we're still, you really have to have backup.
Right. And there are risks involved. And I think,
There are risks involved. So.
I think that's with anything. I mean,
That's
as
true.
far as our storage right now, the risk is that there could be a power surge and that external hard drive can be, you know, surged in, you know, burnt out.
What's that?
There can be another one, you know, there's, it's just how you weigh the risks and
Okay.
whether or not there's an answer for the risks. And I think Axon being on the hook and saying that they're liable and they would have to testify in court is an important fact.
Okay. All right, any more discussion? Any more questions? Are we ready to go to a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal as outlined by Chief Capiello.
Second,
Go ahead. Who?
Andy has to call roll call as to who made the motion and the votes.
Hey, Andy, I know you heard JS, but we need a motion, a roll call.
Oh, we need a roll call on that. Was it, who did it get second?
Yes.
Second.
Thank-
Oh, Henry seconded, okay. So I'd like to have a roll call. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Looks like it's unanimous. Okay. All right, Frank, you're gonna talk to Tony tomorrow?
Yes, I'll give Tony the heads up and then we'll go forward with that. Thank you, everyone, for their
I know a lot of legwork.
this evening and their support in that. I think it's a huge accomplishment for us moving forward for everyone.
Appreciate what you've done and the work that's gone into it. I'm sure there's a lot of legwork that went into looking into this. So thank you
Yeah,
all.
we still a little ways to go, but yeah, it'll very positive thing. So thank you all.
Motion to adjourn.
thanks.
Good
Chief.
seeing everyone.
Entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So we'll see everybody on the 17th.
Thank you all.
Sounds good.
Another meeting.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Thanks.
Good
Thank you
night.
again, everybody.
Have a good
Bye.
night.